All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is showtime, but I'm going to wait till we see who all's in here, how many viewers we have. Okay, Jason Greenberg, the Don. Yeah, Don, we were actually talking about that. I think they are going to be in trouble. Normally, I would not be doing a stream during the game, but I hate to be negative, but I think Brady's just going to nickel and dime us down the whole field tonight.
But Don, do you have anything to say about my Bills this week?
I was waiting for that.
Considering we pretty much won by 14 points, we gave them a little garbage touchdown at the end, but really that was Bills were in control of that game, particularly on offense. They did whatever they wanted to.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. Like I've said the last couple shows, Eric, Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs, they're helping my fantasy team, man.
Stephon Diggs even being out there is just improving things for the other receivers. I mean, John Brown is a very good second receiver.
Oh yeah.
Josh Allen is the man. The Don speaks truth.
And when I drafted him, because I think it was the year before, I took him with not my first overall pick, but I think I took him with my second. People thought I was crazy. I'm like, this kid could be pretty good. And so far, he's lighting it up, man. He's having a pretty good career so far. But anyway, so to answer, hey, Cowboy Longhorn, what's up, man? But Jason Greensberg, if you're still here, to answer your question, I'm just going to address it. That screenshot on this video, because I'm pretty certain he's going to show up tonight under some kind of goofy alias. That is Uncle Lou's mugshot. I'm sorry, Uncle Walter's mugshot from when he got his DUI a few years ago. So he was talking some mad shit about me in a live stream last night that I was on in the comment section. So if he wants to keep the shit going, I'll keep the shit going. So there you go. That's the answer for that. But anyway, Eric, before I start digressing like I usually do, we have, 7 people to start the show. That's pretty good. And Mark Kramer, a typical Gump. Dwayne, what's up? But Eric, you have a very interesting story to tell of something that just happened to you a few days ago.
Yes, it definitely is. So I'm a very avid Trump supporter, as anyone who's a regular viewer of this show knows. And I go out and wave Trump flags. And so basically I was waving my Trump flag, and this, lady. Now the way it starts is there was a guy walking into the gas station, and he said something to me. Of course, he's far away, so he had to yell it to me. So, and it wasn't like mean. It wasn't mean, but it clearly wasn't in support. So, I yelled a response back to him, and then the lady tells me to shut the hell up, and then I tell her that she's just a triggered weirdo. That's what I like to call him, triggered weirdo. Trump's going to be your president for another 4 years. What are you going to do with your life when Trump wins? All that usual stuff. And then she started just getting mad. I don't even remember all of what she was saying because I was hardly listening. But something about I'm 6 months pregnant. I don't need to deal with the stress of this, blah, 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 blah. When I'm trying to talk on the phone and you two are yelling at each other across the gas station. Well, it's a public place, lady, then leave. And she was so triggered that she kept pacing around, and the other guy ended up pulling up to when we had a very adult discussion, and I enjoyed it, even though we didn't agree on everything. But the lady was milling around over there, clearly triggered. She was so stressed, and she was so worried that the stress was going to. She was so worried that the stress was going to hurt her pregnancy, and so she decided to stick around. She was so triggered. And she didn't leave because she called the cops. Yeah, that's right. We're in a public place. I'm not even on the property of the gas station. I'm on the sidewalk by the by the traffic light, and she calls the cops. And of course, the cops can't do anything. So, lady at the gas station, you're a loser. Triggered loser.
Well, well, the thing is, if you're not on the gas station's property, what does she think is going to be done?
I don't know. I think she's just mentally deranged. I do.
Because I mean, you weren't doing anything wrong. You were just waving your flag, showing your support. But what's funny about that is she said she's 6 months pregnant and it's causing her stress what you're doing. Like, really? So you, a 20-year-old guy out in the street waving a Trump-Pence flag, is causing her so much stress in her life, and it's affecting her pregnancy. Give me a freaking break.
Right. All right. I'm just going to catch up on comments here. I see. Yep, all the people who showed up. Fire Guy says Pence got wrecked last night. The fly on Pence's head was hilarious. And me, we're also hilarious.
I don't mean to sound clueless or anything, but I didn't watch any of the debates last night. What's the fly?
Oh, a fly landed on his head while he was talking about the race issues, or the supposed race issues that we have in America, apparently.
Yeah, I'm just finding that out now. But yeah, I was doing some other things last night. So, but anyway, yeah, let's take a look at some of the comments here. We do have some other faces in here that aren't normally in here. Like I said, I only saw a couple clips of the debate, so I can't really say if if Pence got wrecked. But the clips that I did see, no, he didn't. Mark Kramer says, "Go Trump and go Irish." There you go.
Kamala Harris tells so many lies that are just so easy to just look up. All right. Now, I'm not very informed on the issue of fracking. In fact, honestly, from what I hear about it, I'm not even sure if I'm for it. Not even really sure. That might be one I disagree with Trump on. Who knows? But I'd have to do more research. But anyway.
Hey, Eric, I think Uncle Walter showed up.
I see him. But
Walter.
Uncle Walter. That was an excellent new studio there, Uncle Walter. Hey, Uncle Walter, what are you going to do when Trump wins? I'd say we defund Uncle Lou.
Yeah.
But anyways, what was I even saying?
We were starting to talk about something to do with the damn it! Yeah, that was my fault.
She was so clearly lying about. Of course, she was in support of fracking. All right, if you were not in support of fracking, if you're not in support of fracking, just own it. Say you're not. Say you're for the environment. Okay, you would have looked a lot better than just sitting up there lying about it for no reason. Not to mention, she made herself just look like a completely unlikable candidate because, and in these debates, all the time, people go over their time or they occasionally interject while the other person's talking, okay? Not a big deal. Happens in debates all the time. In fact, it tells me that two candidates are very passionate about what they're talking about. So I find that to be okay in a debate in moderation. But the way she would say, Mr. Vice President, I'm speaking. Like, she was just so annoying. It was like she was talking to kindergartners. She was so condescending. Such a liar. Just what an unlikable candidate. And there's a reason why Kamala Harris dropped out of the primaries very early. In fact, she may have been the first one because she was so terrible. She was only getting 1% of the support. And you can clearly see why, because
she was one of the early ones, for sure.
Whoever let that Pocahontas get up there and open her trap, clearly is a moron. They devastated Biden's campaign by putting her in there.
Well, of course, I had a friend of mine, Ted, that I had on here for an interview, and we talked about this. But he said this in one of his videos before, and we can't prove this, but nothing would surprise me one bit if the Democrats were purposely trying to lose the election, just so they could get 4 more years of Trump and then fire up their base even more with anger.
Hey, Uncle Lou, are you a triggered weirdo? Because I think all the things you just said, all right, never married, didn't have kids. There's a lot of people that haven't had kids and haven't been married yet. All right, big deal. Okay, congratulations, you are, and you have a couple of. It seems like you have some very beautiful children. That's a great thing. That's a blessing, and I'm happy for you, sir. But the one thing I'm going to say about you is that, and if that is you, you clearly have sunk to all new lows. How many accounts do you make? I mean, if this isn't Lou, it's clearly somebody else, and you have an awful lot of time on your hands aren't you busy making clown videos? I mean, so between making clown videos and making YouTube accounts to come on here and say the same things.
Well, Lily doesn't think that it's him. It could easily not be. I mean, here's the thing. I know that you can use the incognito mode and use like 4 accounts at once when you're on a live stream, but I guarantee you one of these is him.
Well, either way, it's someone who probably follows, but it doesn't matter. I'm not even going to address that again. That's the last time I'm going to end my train of thought addressing that. But Fire Guy, I'd like you to explain your reasoning. Mansplaining. What are you talking about? Mike Pence did just a fine job, and he actually did better than Trump, in my opinion, in the debate. So I'd like an explanation. Show your work.
It looks like the mugshot got some people fired up.
Oh, heck yeah. Triggered weirdos. Are you triggered? Are you triggered? Well, that means that the headline did its job. It's got some traffic here. So thank you. Thank you for the traffic. Much appreciated.
Yeah, so yeah. I can say that much about myself. I mean, nope, not married, don't have any kids. Yes, I am single at the moment. Had a date last week though, pretty good. So we'll see where it goes from there. Not that it's anybody's business, but I have no problem sharing it. But I can say this. Honest truth, never once have I driven drunk. Never have I gotten a DUI or put anybody's life in danger. And there's no mugshot of me out there because I'm not a moron.
All right. So anyway, I'm done. Let's just not even address the clowns anymore. Not just ignore them because we have other things to talk about.
So Eric, you made a video today that you ended up taking down because you weren't happy with how it turned out. But I saw a video that you made today that was really good, and you talked about voting. So why don't you go over what you had to say in that? So your second take, for lack of a better term.
First, I'd like to just first, and this is because this is different. This is a legit person here, and Fire Guy. That's definitely just a difference of opinion, but it's not hard to be better than someone who's up there just straight up lying, making themselves look very unlikable and snotty. She's very condescending, and she tried to pull the crocodile tears on and pull at the heartstrings so many times, and she just looks so awkward and disingenuous while doing it. And she lied about things that aren't even hard to fact check. Like, it's not even difficult. All you have to do is go back to the Democratic primary, and she's the biggest fence rider ever. When she comes on there and like, she can try to pass this off as a debate all she wants, but when you come on there and you viciously go after somebody, and I agree with her on this. It was just that she changed her stance, but she goes after Joe Biden, saying she believes the people who accuse him of sexual assault, and she believes them, and she viciously went after him in that debate. But now all of a sudden she's on there talking about Joe like it's her husband, and she just, oh yeah, and this is me and Joe love talking about this. Oh yeah, and that reminds me of Joe and Joe this and Joe. Just practically, she did everything but drop to her knees and suck him. After, in another debate, slamming him, calling him a sexual predator and accusing him of sexual assault. So there's an old saying, you can only jump the fence so often until you eventually just get impaled on it. And honestly, I thought Mike Pence did a great job exposing her lies, but at the same time, giving her the opportunity to talk and make herself look like the liar that she is and the unlikable candidate and personality that she is. And that's my response.
Well, honestly, I think I really don't think this election is going to be as close as people are making it out to be. I really think it's going to be, the electoral map is going to be the same as it was in 2016.
Oh, sorry, Sean.
No, I was just going to say it's just that the Democrats, their whole side is full of nothing but clowns. And again, I'm not saying the Republicans are perfect, because they're not, but the Democrats just seem to take it to that next level of, that next extreme level of ridiculousness and stupidity.
Yeah, I would agree. Could we get to my election predictions too after I talk about my video?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, so and I'll try to keep that one brief. But the video I made about why your vote matters, and it wasn't, the reason why I took the video down was that I just didn't think that the little details of the video looked good. I just didn't think I, articulated myself very well. So so I'm just going to get back to that. So there was a very large crowd of people that think their vote doesn't matter, particularly people who live in states that are low with the electoral votes. And for those of you who don't know how the Electoral College works, it basically is a state-by-state basis where they measure, I believe they measure the popular vote in each state, and whoever, kind of wins that popular vote in the state, the Electoral College ends up going with that.
That's how I thought it went. I mean, that's how I always perceived it, how it went.
Yeah, and I think because when you go out and vote in the polls, you're actually technically not voting for the president. You're voting for the Democratic or Republican electors in your state, and it's kind of a winner-take-all thing. So, if the Democratic nominee gets more votes in New York than the Republican nominee, then it's a winner-take-all, and you would get all of 29 of New York's electoral votes. And that's how that would work. Now, in a lot of these smaller states, particularly the red wall in the middle of the map, where the Dakotas and Oklahoma and Kansas and all that, and that big line.
Yeah, the Midwest.
Yep. That's pretty much all red for the most part. There's really no, discrepancy there. But when you add up all those states that aren't Texas, that's still only equivalent to about 31 electoral votes. So that can seem inconsequential, but the reason why I think it is because I think this election is going to be decided between 40 and 60 electoral votes. I think it's going to be that close. And I know, Sean, you don't think it's going to be close, but I do, because number one, the reason why one of the big reasons why Trump was able to win in 2016 was because of the fact that, they didn't have as much time to smear him in the media like they have now. And
Right.
number 2, Hillary Clinton was getting smeared in the media, and for good reason. And let me tell you, things would have been very tense with countries like Russia had she been elected. It would have been a disaster. Would have been awful. And a lot of people know that. A lot of people know the skeletons in her closet. It's no secret. The only people that voted for her are the blind, you know, libtards, and they kind of ended up getting outnumbered in that election.
Well, let's just say it with Hillary Clinton, and this is going to sound bad, but I'm just telling the truth. The one big thing that she had going for her is the fact that she's a woman. And what's something that a lot of people in this country like? A first. They want to see, first woman president. It was kind of the same thing with the Barack Obama, first black president, and so on. People do get on trends like that. It's just a fact.
Let me be right
horrible, but it's true.
I have to go grab my computer so I can pull up the map because I did a little, prediction map of my own. So I'm just going to look at it for reference.
Sure. Hey, Lily, I appreciate that. But one thing to keep in mind, all the people on here that are bad-mouthing me, which it's most likely just one guy with a bunch of aliases, maybe a couple of his friends. If you saw how retarded these people are and the stuff that comes out of their mouth, you don't got to worry about it.
Yeah, babe, don't worry about it. It's not a big deal. And if I don't care, I don't know if they were attacking me in there or if it was just Sean, but either way, they're all dumb.
Oh, they're coming. The attacks are thrown at me. I seriously doubt if any of these guys attack you, it's very very small.
Well, because
it's all towards me because there's a history here.
They have no real ammo with me.
Yeah.
They don't know anything about me. They want to tell me that my beard looks dumb or some. I don't know what they're gonna do. What they have for a material on me, but.
Well, I saw a comment. I saw some comment where someone was talking about something with my hat. I mean, it's just a hat.
Grasping at straws.
Yeah.
Anyway, let me pull up my map here that I did. All right, so I think the final score that I ended up coming up with for the electoral votes was Donald Trump 299, Joe Biden 239. And if I can pull up my map here, I'm not going to give too much of an analysis on any of the states, but the important swing states. Those are the only ones I'm really going to talk about.
Well, okay, so really, you said 299 electoral votes, right? Well, yep. You're only one off because when I said it was going to be the same as in 2016, Trump had an even 300 in 16. So that's only a one electoral vote difference. So we're pretty spot on.
Craig thinks 35, 40 states. Well, I'm going to go through and go through all the states that I think Trump is going to win. The obvious ones I'm not going to get into explanation about, but Washington, Oregon, California, obviously we all know where that's going. But let me tell you, Oregon could be up for grabs because Portland's getting red-pilled, so watch out for that. And a lot of these cities might get red-pilled, particularly Chicago, because I think they're all sick of Mayor Beetlejuice down there. So,
Beetlejuice.
Yep, you don't even worry about it. These people are all stupid. We just deflect them and continue on with what we're doing. Because if we spend our entire time addressing that, the entire broadcast would be derailed. So
yeah.
Anyway. But and California is the biggest one, 55 electoral votes. That almost seems unfair, but I don't know. I guess that's the way it is. Biden's going to win the biggest state in terms of electoral votes, but won't win the election. So that's sad. But no, watch out for Oregon. That might get red-pilled. So, but for now, we're just going to say they probably will go for them just because they always do. Nevada. Now, that's going to be one that shocks people, but I think they go red. And the reason why I believe that is when you look at the 2016 map, that was district by district. there was actually quite a bit of red in there. But you have Las Vegas, and that is why you go blue. Now, I think that he keeps the base in Nevada, but I think he extends that a little bit. And I know he's actually closer in the polls in Nevada than you might think. They say Biden has the lead in just about most of these states, but I think a lot of those polls are a bit misleading. I think there's going to be a lot of people that come out to this election, particularly people that don't normally vote. There's going to be a lot of people that come out to these elections, and a lot of these poll numbers are going to drastically change come election day. So keep that in mind. I think Trump pulls an upset in Nevada and grabs that one. Idaho, Montana, Wyoming, Utah, Arizona, all those states that are kind of obvious. I'm not sure how obvious Arizona is, but
Yeah, Arizona. I think that edges more blue. I think
it's going red this year. Just think it is. How many major cities? There's not a ton of major. I mean, there's
Phoenix, Scottsdale, Tempe, Tucson.
Yeah.
There's probably another obvious one that I'm missing.
I don't know. Arizona just doesn't come off to me as an overly. It doesn't seem like a place that just can't be flipped. Like California, that ain't flipping. And there are a lot of districts in California that are Republican, but there's just too many major cities, too many brainless celebrities there for that to go red. So,
well, they call California the land of fruits and nuts for a reason.
I didn't know they called it that, but it makes sense. But anyway,
you've never heard that term?
No.
Yeah, they call California the land of fruits and nuts, and they call it that for a reason. Because where do you think all the hippies in the '60s? You ever heard the song I forget the words, but to San Francisco, or whatever the lyrics are. But anyway, like that's where all the hippies would go, was out to California, in the specifically San Francisco. So yeah, the weirdness took off from there.
Yep, they haven't been knocked off the continent by a earthquake yet. So I don't know. Take that news for what you will. Good news or bad news, I don't know. But
Escape from L.A. You ever seen that movie? Kurt Russell.
I think I've heard of it. I've not.
That's the one where I think it was all of Los Angeles broke off from the state, and they used it as a prison.
Unfortunately, probably all the Republicans that are moving out. So, yep, that state's going to be blue. The home of Nancy Pelosi, very unhinged politician.
Well, it's a state full of unhinged people, so what do you expect? I wouldn't be caught dead going out there.
Moron celebrities, but that's an obvious one. But Colorado and New Mexico, those are going to be blue states. New Mexico might be close, but I don't see it. Those two states are Biden states. Then, of course, you have the red wall here of the states that I was talking about that may seem inconsequential because they're 3, 5, 6, and 7 electoral votes. But in this election, these kind of states could be, important, especially if Nevada doesn't go red, as I'm predicting, and it very well could go blue. And that's kind of a ballsy pick on my part to say Nevada's going to go red. But especially if it doesn't, though, those states are the consequential ones, and they're very reliable for the Republican candidates. So we'll talk about vaccines later, but because we got to get through this topic, or else this stream will be forever long. There's no way we're going to keep it under 45 minutes.
Well, but we can try.
We'll try, but
not likely. No,
it'll probably be a shade over an hour. But in that wall there tends to be very reliable for the Republican candidate, and then of course the big one that always leans red, and they're not voting for Joe Biden, and that's Texas, and that one's red all the way. Now, I don't remember if Minnesota went red in the 2016 election.
No, it went blue.
It's going
I
to
know
go
for
blue.
a fact.
And now there's a chance it might go red, and I'm sure Craig will probably think it will. And there's a good argument for that, considering the amount of nonsense that's gone down in there in Minneapolis, and the fact that they wanted to reject help from the National Guard along with Chicago, which that's another state that has a puncher's chance of going red, but I doubt it. And there's a good chance they might be sick of the nonsense. And you may see Minnesota go red, but I don't have the balls to pick that. That's going to be a blue state. That's for Joe Biden.
Yeah, that's always been a tough call. Obviously, my home state here in Illinois, that's going blue. But I saw on your map too that that you had Michigan, which was a red state in the last election. You have that going blue this time.
I do.
And what was your reason? What was your reason for Michigan going blue?
It just seems like, well, and I think the 2016 election was, that's, and wasn't Michigan very close? I mean, that was very tight.
Well, I know. I remember election night that year. I was keeping tabs on my phone, and throughout the whole night, it was a very faint red, and it was very because you know how Google has the state tracker during the elections, and it kind of like gives you an indication of where the state's heading by color. Michigan was a very light red, and at one point it was even purple.
Yeah.
So kind of a mix.
Cowboys Longhorns makes a good point there. If Reagan can't win the state, nobody can. So, anyways,
no, Craig, you're right. No, we all know the obvious of which candidate is winning what. Trump is going to take the South. He's going to take most of the Midwest. The Northeast is going to Biden, and the West Coast is going to Biden. That much we do know.
But anyway, back to the Michigan point.
Yeah, sorry.
There's a lot of now. That was a very. Oh, you're fine. Now that was a very, very tight call, if I remember correctly. If someone wants to fact check me in the comments, feel free. But that was a very, very tight race in the 2016 election, and I just think it's going to lean Democratic. I do, and I know there's probably a lot of people there. There were a lot of protests. People don't like that governor there, Gretchen Whitmer. I don't either. I think she's a clown, but that's neither here nor there. I just think it's going to end up being a Democratic state. I think there's a lot of people there that, especially considering it's not been a great week for Trump. The debate didn't look that good on his party, even though, Sean, you're on my Facebook page. I posted a video that you should check out and it was the body language portion of the debate, and it really, and I'll tell you what, I'm not going to get into it, but Trump might actually be a genius. But give it a watch. I'm not going to get into it here, but anyway, Bears just scored.
Sorry for the interruption. Yes, go back to this video.
But
you said he was a genius. I should check this out.
Yeah, you can check it out. I'm not going to get into any more than that. But and there's also reasons to think Michigan could go red. A lot of them are not happy with the Obama-Biden administration, and that dates back to when there was lead in their water, and Obama didn't treat them very nicely during that issue. I don't know a whole lot about it, but I do know there was an issue about lead in the water, and there's some bad blood there with that Obama-Biden administration. Now, that very well may hold back Joe Biden in winning that state, but I just have this gut feeling that this state's just still going to go blue. I do, and they're dumb for it, considering they should learn some lessons based on their governor that they're stuck with right now. But I don't know. I just think that they will.
Well, in regards to that, Eric, I've said this many times, and I'll probably say it many more times. The biggest thing that people have with voting is they only vote the party instead of the person. And that's where I think people really need to pay attention is actually looking at who they're voting for. You know, that's why I really encourage everybody, you know, if you have a local organization that passes out voting guides, take them. Because those guides, they show you everything on what, you know, what said candidate voted on, how they voted on it, what, you know, whatever topic, take your pick, what their views are, and so on. So that's the biggest mistake anybody can make, is just simply, you know, voting a party instead of the person.
And part of that, I think, is a problem too, because I think they're voting for the person rather than the policy. A lot of people just don't like Donald Trump's abrasive.
It works both ways. You're right.
But and I think that they're just blind, and they also don't like Trump from before he was president. A lot of people, and there's just some never Trumpers out there, and that's just the way it's going to be. They could say vote Donald. There could be if we don't vote Donald Trump, the world will explode. Yet they would still vote for the other person. So
well, you know what's funny about that is I remember before Donald Trump became president, and you can see. I didn't notice this right away, but you know, when you see like videos and pictures and stuff, it kind of tells all that you need to know. But all these people who suddenly hate Trump, they loved him before he was president. Right. So there's a lot of that in there too.
The rappers especially. But no, I think Michigan goes blue, but let me tell you, that's the state on here that I am most likely to be wrong about. Even more likely than I am about picking Nevada to go red. I think I'm even more likely to be wrong about Michigan.
Well, it's funny that you think they would go blue with a certain college team that's there.
Yeah.
go blue.
Nice. But anyways, back to that little area there. I think Trump keeps Wisconsin. I think he keeps his base there. He won that in the 2016 election. I think he wins it again. Then we have Iowa, Missouri, Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, Florida, who's, you know, kind of known as the swing state, but no longer. They do not want to. Neither of these two Democratic candidates appeal to Florida and their morals and values at all. And let me tell you, Floridians, they're very smart, particularly the Cubans down there. They have brains, and they know how socialism is. So they're not going to vote for it. Florida, without a doubt in my mind, is going to President Donald Trump. I don't care what the polls say. Nonsense. There's not a single chance that Joe Biden takes Florida. Not a chance.
Hey, Craig, seeing your post here, that's awesome, man. But I'd be careful posting that here with all the creeps that I attract.
I'll give you a look. I'll send you a friend request or something later if you like. You seem like an all right guy. I'm not too worried. But that entire South region there, except for and including Kentucky, West Virginia too. I think he's going to take that entire area, except for Virginia, and Illinois is not going to go red either. Despite Mayor Beetlejuice, they still will stay blue.
No, what the biggest difference here in Illinois is Chicago. I mean, look, I have a good friend that lives in the city, and he is as conservative gets, but it's common sense. Chicago is too full of the most idiotic and craziest liberals I've ever seen. They're no different than any other major city.
Beetlejuice is horrible. Don't the liberals even hate her?
There's a lot that do, yes.
So I think this is her last term, however long it is. No one's voting Beetlejuice for mayor in the next election. Doubtful. She's awful. She is the worst mayor. She's even worse than Bill de Blasio in New York City, and that's hard to do.
Well, the funny thing is, and maybe this is just a silly personal shot, but you know me, I like being funny. You look at her and her quote wife. It's hard to tell which one's the man and which one's the woman.
It is very hard to tell. between let's say a UFO came. Let's say she got abducted by a UFO and they brought her back. It's hard to figure out which one of them is actually her, because her and the aliens all look alike. So if she gets abducted by aliens, there's a good chance that they're not going to find her because she blends right in.
No, the aliens are going to say, me. Why didn't you warn us? We didn't want this. We regret taking her. You should have told us.
Well, instead of doing that, they should just throw her towards the nearest supernova and move on with life.
Yeah.
But,
no, I mean, unfortunately, that's a case of shit in one hand, wishing the other sees which fills up first.
Indiana, Kentucky, Ohio, West Virginia, all going red, and Pennsylvania is going red. I don't know much about fracking. I don't know how I even feel about it. But let me tell you, taking away fracking is not going to go over well with the Pennsylvanians. That's jobs being lost. Joe Biden is not winning that state. Pennsylvania will stay with the Donald. Obama country, Hawaii will go with Joe Biden. Alaska will go to Donald Trump.
Well, taking away fracking from Pennsylvania, I mean that's like taking coal mining away from West Virginia. You know,
yeah, not going to go over well. So basically, all those states there, those are pretty much the Republican states to begin with. And the swing states, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Florida. I think he takes all of them, and Trump takes all of those. And Michigan, the one swing state, that'll be the one big victory that Biden has. Now, in the Northeast, it's predominantly blue. I think there's one district that will vote, and for some reason, this thing wouldn't let me select a district. So I think that might affect the score.
New Hampshire, right?
I think it was Maine.
Well, I know it's Maine or New Hampshire. There's one state in the Northeast that
there's two districts of Maine.
Okay, because I was thinking New Hampshire had 4.
One's going to go red, one's going to go blue, and that might actually affect the 299, 239 score I have here. But I mean, it doesn't really matter. But half of Maine will take blue, half will take red. And let me tell you, I was very, very close to picking Trump to win New York.
Oh man, that would have been a ballsy call. Very ballsy. But
hear me out. If you look at the 2016, and let me tell you, he has the best shot since Ronald Reagan to win this state. Book it. He has the best shot. But I still went blue because I just don't think enough people got out of New York City yet. There are quite a people getting out of there in boatloads. Can't blame them. But let me tell you though, I still think New York City is going to keep that upper hand. I don't think Governor Cuomo is going to get reelected because I think he's just destroyed the base that he had while he's been on his power trip. He's just ruined any chances he has of reelection. But New York, if you look at it district by district in 2016, you look at and I've gone off flag waving in so many different places, so many different counties, and even the ones that have Biden-Harris signs all over the place. I got a significant amount of honks and thumbs up. I obviously get the middle fingers and everything, and things thrown at me some occasionally, but there are a lot of support. And for every Biden-Harris sign I seem to see 5 Trump-Pence signs. And let me tell you, if they can swing the influence of New York City just a little bit, I'll tell you what, you might
that'd be game over.
You might see Trump win that state by 0.1% if he does. It would be an insane upset victory. It would be the election highlight if that were to happen, but it will not. Biden will take New York, but let me tell you, if he takes New York, I wouldn't be surprised. And if he takes New York, there's a good chance he probably is going to take Oregon too, and he's probably going to take Michigan. So if he can take New York, he'll take Michigan and Oregon, guaranteed. Book.
Well, what this all goes back to, what you're talking about here with all these blue states like New York and Oregon and California. If you actually, and I've said this before too, if you look at the individual states, like the individual maps of county by county, how they voted, notice how it's only in the major cities of those states where it's blue. The rest of the state, majority red.
Oh yeah, California had a lot of big red patches. They did, but it's you've just got it. California, I don't know when that'll ever be a red state again. Maybe
Probably
after
never.
maybe after they've fallen off the map, but
hey, if they want to be their own country, let them have it.
But yeah, but anyway, like I said, Obama country, Hawaii, that's going to be blue. Alaska.
Oh, what a catch by Jimmy Graham! Touchdown, Chicago.
Jimmy, you can do a lot worse than tight ends than Jimmy Graham in fantasy football right now.
People are called. Look, do you have the game on?
No,
look at this catch.
In the room.
Oh, one-handed grab. Watch this highlight later. Holy shit.
Cowboys, Longhorns. If Trump wins New York, there's a good chance that there are several other states that, if he can win New York, let me tell you, Michigan, Oregon are both his, without a doubt. Because if he can break the city influence in New York, he can break the influences in Michigan without a doubt, and Oregon. Because let me tell you, Oregon is in the process of being red-pilled right now. They are. Let me tell you, it's going to be a little bit more dicey in Oregon this year than people think. The only state in that underneath New York, other than that Illinois spot, it's going to be Virginia is the only state that Biden will take. That's predominantly Democratic, and then you'll have Maine, you'll have Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Connecticut, New Jersey, Delaware, Maryland, and D.C. that are all going to go Biden. It's just going to happen. So I think what you'll actually see is how many. Does anyone know how many electoral votes the one district of Maine is?
I thought it was like 2.
So if that's the case, then Trump will win the election 301 to 237 or something like.
I mean, I could be wrong, but I think Maine only has in total like 4, maybe 5 electoral votes.
It's pretty inconsequential for the most part, but that brings me back to my video I made and why voting matters. And there's a very significant crowd of people who, one, don't know how the Electoral College really works and how it is very dependent on the popular vote in your state. That's really what the Electoral College is dependent on. Everyone thinks that they just get together and make their own choice and then they try to consider the popular vote. No, it is off the popular vote in that state. That's what it is. So if you want your state to be, and you don't know what the election's going to be. So if this election's close and, you have those few states who don't get out and vote, and then, the only people that go to the polls are the libbies, and then you go blue by accident, then all of a sudden you'll swing the election in favor of the person you don't want to win. So it doesn't matter if you want Biden to win or if you want Trump to win. Get out and vote and be the change that you want to see. And because if you don't, you for one, you have no right to sit around and bitch after about the things that you don't like that are happening, because you'll be the reason for it. You didn't go out and vote. Agree or disagree, hot takes with Eric today, but yeah, and you're gonna see it right there, and you're gonna see it in this election. And let me tell you, I wouldn't be surprised if it's a landslide victory and he takes Oregon, Michigan, and I'll tell you what, don't be surprised if you see Trump sneak New York, just steal it from Biden, because no one here likes him either. There are very few Biden-tards around here.
You heard it here first, folks. If New York gets turned, Syracuse and Buffalo Sports, aka Eric, told you first.
No one else is saying that. I'm the only person on this blue earth, this green and blue earth, that's saying that. Only person.
Well, I mean, it's interesting to speculate.
Let me tell you, when I go out flag waving and I see just how many people, and let me tell you, I've spoken to people around here who never. There's one person that I talked to. He's 63 years old. He has never voted in his life. Never been registered to vote. Never voted. He's
What was
voting
his reason?
I didn't ask. I just know that he didn't vote, and now he is. And the Amish people, they never vote. They are going out and voting for Trump this year. Why? Because he's good for business. The economy was booming under Trump. Record low unemployment, 3.5%. It took Obama 4 years or however long to get unemployment down below 8% in an economy where all you had to do was turn on the lights to fix that. I mean, the economy was absolutely awful before Obama got into office. And yeah, did he help improve it? Kind of. Yeah. Did he take out bin Laden? Yeah, it happened under his administration, so I guess we'll give him credit for it. But who knows what other moving parts were with that. But let me tell you, Trump has gotten things done. He's constantly out negotiating. He's not sitting on his ass. He's out there all the time, keeping relations good with other countries. And I'll tell you what, we have a tense relationship with China that is going to go. China will eat Joe Biden's lunch if he gets elected into office. They are endorsing him in every single way. They're endorsing Joe Biden. If you want to make China vote Joe Biden.
And you know what's funny about that with the leaders of other nations? I actually have a coworker who said the opposite, that all the other world leaders hate Donald Trump. He has them all pissed off. And I'm like, why? Because he doesn't want to kiss China's ass? Like China in particular?
Yeah.
That's what it all boils down to.
No, you can't sell an American product in China. Here they are selling there's so much product here from China. You can't throw a rock without hitting a product that's made from China here. So I think there's a clear issue there, and it makes no sense. Yet you go over and sell an American product in China, they probably put a bullet in your head.
Yeah, probably. It probably would. But all I know is one thing I've learned during election time, and this is, let's see, the first election that I was eligible to vote in was 2004, because I just graduated high school earlier that year. But one thing that I've learned in every election since is you definitely see the worst in people, and you definitely hear some of the craziest shit spewed out of people's mouths that you would never hear.
Yes. I mean, and it's crazy just how many, relationships are destroyed over politics. Like, let me tell you, me and Sean, we disagree on some things politically.
Yeah, you guys who've been watching regularly, you've seen that.
Yeah, we have some things we don't agree on. And let me tell you, I have some former teachers too, who I respect very much. Even though one is very, very liberal, actually has said in comments that she's had discussions with her children about their place of privilege in society just based on the color of their skin, which, I mean, oh my Lord, it's just awful.
This is the shit that gives me a headache.
And her profile picture is, if you are neutral in situations.
Hey, Mark, thanks for stopping by, dude. Appreciate it. Sorry, Eric. If you were saying if you go by her profile picture.
Mark Kramer, thanks for showing up tonight. It was great. It's always great to have some good viewership here. But anyways, her profile picture is literally, if you are neutral in situations of injustice, then you have chosen the side of the oppressor. So she's full-fledged. So, but she was my 5th grade teacher, and let me tell you, her and I have some other teachers as well, are very liberal, but I still have the utmost respect for her based on how they did as my teacher. And I don't take that political stuff personally.
I was going to ask you a question in regards to that, Eric. Since you were born in the 2000s, you grew up going to school in the 2000s. Now, myself, I went to grade school and whatnot in the 90s, graduated high school in the early 2000s. But in grade school in particular, did you have a lot of your teachers trying to push their own personal agenda on you guys in class, or did they do pretty well by sticking to, you know, reading, writing, arithmetic, and the basics?
Well, I'll get to Fire Guy in a minute because I see he's making the same argument that several other people make, and it's not a good one. But I have to say, in high school, I really didn't have an eye for that. I really didn't start paying attention to politics till the beginning of this year. Everything that you hear me saying right now, I've learned in the course of these last 10 months or 9 months, actually, because I really didn't 8 months. Because I really didn't start paying attention to politics until it kind of started to affect me in terms of the coronavirus. And it started from there. And then I just started educating myself more and more. I probably wouldn't even been voting in this election had it not been for that, because I could have cared less. I mean, I liked Trump. I probably would have gone out and voted for Trump, mainly because I have a family that would have killed me if I didn't vote. But I wouldn't have cared nearly as much, not even close to as much. And I really didn't pay much attention. Now, I did notice things starting to get pushed around a little bit when I got into college, particularly in the first one I took. I had this little old lady that would try to convince us about why we shouldn't be sentencing criminals to such long sentences, and that the harshness of sentences should be taken down. So that's a liberal idea, liberal agenda. And you see it particularly more and more, and I'm sure Lily can tell you all about it if she's still here. That they really infiltrate a lot of Black Lives Matter. They make you watch all these movies about it. They push all these globalism mentalities and all that. It's all liberal stuff.
And I said this on the episode that we did last week, but the majority of college professors, they are a part of the true cancer on this country. I mean, people wonder why so many college kids are the way they are. That's why. And I actually had somebody, and this is actually on a Notre Dame Facebook group that I'm a part of. I had an assistant professor at Notre Dame try to, quote, call me out and be like, well, Sean, all the Notre Dame players and the students, they're involved with Black Lives Matter. They support it. So does Brian Kelly. Why don't you go get another team to cheer for? And I tell her, yeah, you know why they support it? Because of people like you. You guys are a cancer to our society. And I'll tell you exactly why. You know, yes, the big reason is obviously the professors have a platform. They have a platform to speak. They're, quote, teaching the class, although I hardly call it teaching. But another big factor is this. Even though you got some of these kids are in their early 20s, they're technically adults, they're still kids. They still have the mindset of a kid. But all these college kids, and I'm talking mostly the new ones, like the incoming freshmen, with the overwhelming majority of them, unless they went to boarding school or something like that, this is their first time living away from home. They're homesick. They're in a hostile environment. They're scared. They're going to want to try to fit in any way that they possibly can. So what better way than to believe everything your new professor tells you, and what these other groups who have already been, indoctrinated by these professors, and it's a revolt.
Fire guy, and I say this every time I go out flag waving, because I always get people who think they're counter protesting me when they do the Black Lives Matter thing. And I always say, and they can never say anything back to this, I always say, oh, yeah, I agree with you. Black lives do matter. I just think that they can matter without you burning things down. And if you're going to, have this agenda, at least have it be a right one, because most of the 86% of the black people that are dying at the hands of other black people. So tell black people to stop killing black people. Black lives matter. Stop
Well, the
killing
bottom
them.
line is this guy, which this could easily be Uncle Walter too. This guy comes in, week out, says the same thing, come up with something new for the love of God.
Yeah, fire guy.
I mean, really, it's the same bullshit every week. Every week. Lily, you're right. I was kind of going off your comment there. You beat me to the punch. But yes,
and
fire
week. Guess what? I'm a conservative, and I just admitted it. Black lives matter, okay? So we can get off this. On your other point that you made, Trump admitted he won't accept the result of the election. No, he's going to accept the result of the election because, number one, I don't know if you heard that. You probably heard that at one of his rallies. And, yeah, he says that. What's he going to – because he's talking to his crowd. He wants to get everybody pumped up. I will accept the result of the election.
Hey, TikTok Chess Hall, what's up, dude? I don't know you personally, but let me just say, dude, if this really is you, I love the back and forth that you've caused in the other live streams. They're very entertaining.
But let me tell you, Trump has been one of the better trolls in the media, and and there's a couple other things too. Number one, I do hope that this is a fair election because even you have to admit that some of the things that you've heard, and I'm not going to say that they're necessarily true. Maybe they're not. But, I mean, let me tell you, if those things that I heard are true, that's not good either way. The election should not be swung in a way like that, whether it's for Joe Biden or for Trump. It shouldn't happen. There shouldn't be mail-in ballots in the trash. There shouldn't be spying on campaigns. None of that should be happening. And Trump will accept the result of the election. He'll have no choice. Okay, if he loses the election, he'll have to concede to Joe Biden. It's just the way things work in this country, and nothing's going to change that. Okay,
well, I don't know. I'm sorry, this isn't the NFL. You don't get a challenge. I mean,
no.
The closest thing we had to that was, I mean, somebody mentioned it earlier, 2000 between Gore and George Bush.
Yeah, they recounted the votes.
Yeah, I mean, that's the closest thing we've ever had to that. But no, you accept the results whether you win or lose. You don't have a choice. I mean, you can't just lose and still say that you're the president.
So if that's your argument for why Trump is a bad president, then it's a really bad one. Think of another one. Pence did bitch slap Kamala last night, and she kind of bitch slapped herself by getting up there and being unlikable, condescending, and a liar. Her and Joe have a lot in common.
Oh, yeah. Well, Eric, we just crossed. Go ahead, dude.
She wants to talk about her prosecution record, and she wants to talk about everything but locking up black people for smoking pot. So any black audience members that are watching, if you think Kamala Harris gives a shit about you, think again. And her fake crocodile tears will not sway me, and they shouldn't sway any of you, all right? Because they are using black people as props, the Democratic Party. They do nothing but pander and rah-rah-rah speeches, but what do you see them doing? And versus what you see Trump doing. 3 million black Americans that were off of food stamps, and the unemployment was a record low of 3.5% before the pandemic, all right? So you can't argue with facts. Those are the facts, all right? So if you want to come up with some of those lazy, limp arguments, go right ahead. I don't think I even need to address it further.
No, you've been stating the same thing that both of us have been saying nonstop for the past several weeks. And I've said this long before you and I even started teaming up for these live streams. All like I said, all these people who are a part of the Black Lives movement and the organization. Never have we once talked about Black lives in general not mattering. Of course, Black lives in general matter. We talk about the organization. But I wish these people would wake up and realize that these politicians, these liberal politicians who push that shit, all the athletes that do the kneeling and crap, that all the celebrities in Hollywood, they are just out for themselves. And they are using these people to advance their own careers. And I wish the common people could see that, but unfortunately they don't.
Cowboys Longhorns, they should also look up the Biden crime bill and listen to the things that Joe Biden is saying before the judge in the court. There's also another video I shared from a YouTuber. His name's Paint the Trump, and it was, "Dear Black people, this is Joe Biden." And he got a series of videos of Joe Biden just saying absolutely racist shit. I mean, he just can't help himself. Even now he's letting racist stuff spill from his mouth, and people just, the media gives him a free pass on everything.
Well, there was some. Well, there was some. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Keep going. I'm sorry, man.
As for Cullen Silver, I love prostitution records.
I saw that too.
Spread Eagle Kamala.
That's awesome. That was great. That was great, Cullen. But I was going to say, there was a show that Joe Biden was on, and it was the host of the show was a black guy. I forget his name, but Joe Biden said on this show, "If you do not vote for me, then you're not black." You can go look the clip up. It's on YouTube.
Imagine if Trump had said that.
Yeah. If Trump had said that, oh my God, we would have World War III.
Explosions. Liberals' head would actually fall off.
But yeah, I mean, we could regurgitate the same stuff over and over, but we all get the point. I mean, it's just more of the same old, same old. But I was going to say before, Eric, we have officially crossed the 1 hour mark. So like you said, so much for 45 minutes. I don't really have much more political stuff to talk about for this episode.
Nope, unless you wanted to get into child predators and sports.
Yes.
We can child predator thing that the idiots were trying to say in their pedo chat rooms. Well, I mean, that's what you kind of do if you're fishing to catch them. That's what you do. So I guess if you're going to insult Sean, you can go insult perverse justice on Chris Hansen's show as well.
Well, here, since all the retards brought it up earlier, all of Uncle Walter's crew that was here last night, or him under all of his aliases. And I was telling Eric about this, about me planning to do this before, and I even told some guys on ACP Carter's live stream last night about this, but about 4 or 5 years ago, maybe even 6 years ago, maybe some of you know this guy, I don't know, but there's a guy out there who calls him, his real name's Kyle, but his screen name is Mr. Technical Difficult. And around 2014, 2015, this guy, basically he does comedy for a living. And what he was most notorious for was doing things like screwing with people on Xbox Live during games. He would also prank call hookers. Some of those videos are still here up on YouTube. But one of the biggest things that he did that got a lot of attention was he would do his own child predator stings, where he would go into some public chat room, say he was a bored 13-year-old girl who was horny, whatnot, take your pick on the choice of words, and he would lure in these child predators. And what he would do is he would add them on Skype, and he would catch them on film and basically just screw with them, make fun of them, laugh at them. Well, I thought it was funny, and I decided to do the same thing. And so I did the same thing. I created a separate Skype account, and I'm going to put all this together in one video. But let me tell you guys something. It's funny when you catch the guys and you make fun of them and all that. But what these guys really do and how they talk and the stuff that they type and say, it is just, it literally makes you want to puke. I mean, so far in the past couple days, I've caught and exposed 3 guys, 3 child predators. So I started doing that myself. And last night when I was on ACP Carter's live stream playing his music game, his music contest that he likes to put on, the amped up thing, I was telling the guys that were on the show with me, I was telling them about that. One guy had a problem with it. He's like, man, what are you doing? You're pretending to be a 13-year-old girl? What are you doing? And I'm like, it's a sting, dude. I'm trying to expose some sick people that are out there. And of course, Uncle Lou or Uncle Walter, because Walter's his real name for those of you who didn't know that, he was in there. And of course, he was, some of you probably saw the comments earlier from him under his fake aliases. He was calling me a pedophile, and he was like, "Oh, of course, I'm not surprised to learn that Sean here hangs out on pedophile websites." And I'm like, they're public chat rooms. They're not pedophile sites. I am catching the child predators.
Now you know what it's like to be Donald Trump.
Yeah, it's disgusting. But so anyway, guys, I've caught 3 child predators. I got it all in video. I'm going to put together a compilation of it, and
we're doing the Lord.
And we'll see. Dwayne, are you? How many of those are you sure of were his? If you don't mind me asking. But anyway, I was just going to finish saying I'm taking a stab at what that Mr. Technical Difficult did, and I'm going to put together a list of me busting these perverts online.
Oh, and
they've been pretty good so far.
Cowboys Longhorns, there's a lot of them too. One of my favorites in particular, he hasn't uploaded one in a while, I don't think, but was Anxiety War. He was one of my favorites.
But yeah, I just don't see why. I mean, other than the one guy last night, it was his name was Unk something. I forget. Miami fan. But nobody else had a problem with it. And he thought that what I was doing was borderline sick. And I'm like, what's sick about it? Trying to expose a bunch of perverts online? Why is that wrong? Why are you showing any kind of sympathy for the pervert? Why does that make me sick? And the funny part is, I'm not trying to, play the wah game or anything like that. But the funny thing is, if this was some other big name YouTuber, they would have found it hilarious. But of course, go figure. It's Uncle Walter who comes in here and starts that shit tonight. And I'll tell you what, that guy, and this is not a joke. He has some serious issues, and it's amazing. A guy who has like 30,000 subs and a successful YouTube show. Why the hell he's even bothering with me? Somebody who is small potatoes to him, and as far as that goes, I mean, all I can say is I guarantee you this guy's family life has to suffer in some way.
I honestly hope not, because he's got a couple kids, and I hope there's bad things going on. He has been, I will say he has been sober for I forget how long, so that's good for him. But honestly, I don't know, the fact that he needs to get on and if that's him, that's kind of low.
Well, the funny thing is, this is a guy who, and I don't know all the details of it, but he found out about a couple of people who were screwing with him online, and he actually got in his car and drove to where these people lived, because I guess he found out their address, and surprisingly, some common sense actually popped into his mind, and he drove back. So think of if he actually followed through with that and either got himself arrested or got himself killed. Think of what that would have done to his family.
Let me go. Look, he's doing a stream right now where he had a leprechaun hat on. Let's go check it out.
But this guy has a serious problem. He cannot. The only time I ever mention this guy is when people or he comes to me.
Where's his stream? I don't see it. I don't see him doing a stream right now.
Well, if he's featuring me as part of the stream, we'd probably have like, I don't know, 50 people barge in here at once, because he did do that to me one other time.
Well, all I know is that there's nothing really special about him. He just kind of does he puts on a show. He's a clown, and Yeah, he's got some good entertainment value, but let me tell you, the immaturity and I know people make mistakes, but I'll tell you what, if you're gonna make those mistakes and then jump out and make statements on other people's moral compass, then I think there's something wrong there.
Well, and also he's a big time hypocrite too, and I still have the video to prove this. But despite all the crap and the history between him and I've never once flagged one of his videos. However, he has flagged one of mine. Did I ever tell you about that?
Yes.
I did. Okay. Well, for those of you in the comments who don't know, last year, Lou was still doing his shit towards me, starting the personal crap. And of course, it even got worse when the Notre Dame Georgia game came around. So I tried to actually, go and talk to him like off screen, from Sean to Walter, just actually talk and like, can we get past this? That kind of thing. Maybe in a way make peace, I guess you could say. And I just asked the guy, and this is all in a private conversation that I still have on my messenger, and I have it documented in a video. This guy is constantly in character, even off camera. It's unbelievable. There was no talking to this guy, no reasoning with him. The only thing he could say to me over and over is the kind of insults that, like what Cowboy Longhorn said, what 14-year-old kids would do, but I would say even younger than 14. Because the only thing he would say to me is 0-6, 0-6, 0-6, which is, he thinks I don't know what that means, but it's Notre Dame's record in BCS/college football playoff bowls. And it was just smart-ass comment after smart-ass comment. I'm just asking the guy, like, just leave me alone, dude. This has run its course. And so one of the things he comes back at me with just leaving a picture of a snowflake. So, calling me a snowflake. He tries
voted Hillary back in the 2016 election.
What?
Voted Hillary back in the 2016 election. So ironic that he's calling anybody a snowflake.
Oh yeah.
It's funny because he made videos, negative, kind of negative about Donald Trump. He did say there were some things he liked about Donald Trump, but for the most part, it seemed that he was very negative on Trump, even calling his supporters Trumpanzees. Yet, it's weird that you would vote for Hillary, considering he also has videos about him where he was complaining that, and rightfully so, I agree with him, but he made videos talking about how he was unhappy with our troops being sent to Iraq, and that's kind of weird to vote for Hillary if you're upset with all that.
Man, Dwayne, you know what I'm talking about because you saw all this. But not to ignore that, Eric, I'm not. But to finish what I was saying, in this in this conversation that I was having privately with him, of course he took some shots at my Christian faith again, which okay, I expected that. He presented the same Bible arguments that are so overused and so ridiculous it's not even funny, where a simple Google search would give him his answer. And then I'm just like, you're insane, dude. You really are. And one thing he tells me in this private conversation is, well, Sean, if you're going to be on YouTube, then you need to get used to taking the heat and taking the insults and blah, 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 blah. So what I did was, since he was going to be that way and there's no reason with this guy, I took that whole conversation and posted it here on YouTube for everybody to see in a video so they could see that this guy is no different off camera than he is on. And guess what? About a day or so later, the video was removed because someone had flagged it. Gee, I wonder who that third party was. So he's telling me that I need to learn how to take the heat. Clearly he can't if he's the one that's flagging videos.
Yep.
But I'll tell you one thing, I've never wished any harm towards this guy. I've never wished any harm towards his family or anything like that. But this guy is out of his mind for real.
Yep. Uncle
I mean,
Walter Raycroft.
yeah. Yeah, and apparently he hates his real name. And another funny thing, too, another friend of mine who watches his videos, I guess he has a real problem with anybody who calls in on his show using the N-word, which I have no problem with that. I would have a problem with that, too, if someone came on here dropping the N-word. It's despicable. So he's against racism, which is great. It's phenomenal. But yet he goes and makes fun of Tua, the quarterback Tua. I always have problems pronouncing his name. Tua Tagovailoa, the Alabama quarterback at the time. I'll just say Tua. You know who I'm talking about.
Tua Tagovailoa, yeah.
I cannot pronounce his last name to save the life of me.
That's what it is.
But he would then go on to refer to Tua as pineapple because he's from Hawaii. Well, last time I checked, Hawaii or Samoan, it's a form of race. So wouldn't pineapple be a derogatory racist remark? So you see, if you actually break it down, there's all sorts of hypocrisy from this guy. It's not even funny.
Yeah, and that's a problem with a lot of people who are liberals. You know, they claim to be, you know, accepting, inclusive, non-hateful people, yet they hold the N-word to this extremely high standard. But you know, other things can be used. You know how often they call people faggots. They'll use anti-Semitic slurs towards people that they don't like. You know, the pineapple or just other, you know, harmful, offensive words. And you know what? If I'm going to be honest with you, I really don't care about people using these words. They're words, all right? But if you're going to be, don't be a hypocrite about it, all right? Either they're all okay or none of them are okay.
Yeah. And all this is just a giant headache, and I can feel it coming on. It's crazy. But
honestly, Sean, the only point that Lou made that I'll agree with is that you just got to let it slide off of you, man. You can't even take it, because if you're
I've learned to do that.
You're a conservative Christian on here, then that's what you're gonna get. And being a conservative,
of course. Hey, I could have blocked every single one of those accounts that Uncle Walter came in to this stream with tonight, but I didn't block one. But I'm gonna tell the truth too.
That's fair. Just don't let yourself get a headache over it.
But it's just the overall mind-boggling thing about this is this guy is on top of the world as far as YouTube goes. I'm sure he's making a pretty nice living off of it. What in the hell is he bothering with me for? I mean, if trying to get a rise out of a small timer like me is having fun, then that's a pretty pathetic way to have fun. And on top of that, it's not like I'm helping his channel. So that's the stuff that's just doesn't make sense to me. I mean, no. Mike, for the love of God, whatever was done or happened, let it the frick go already. So that's where Big Vol Daddy's right. This guy clearly doesn't let anything go. And he really needs to learn how to start letting things go. Because, like I said earlier, the only time you ever hear me mention this guy is when somebody brings it to me or when he shows up here himself or whatever. Other than that, I never talk about the guy. I have better things to talk about, which I'm kind of breaking that now, but still.
Well, yeah, we got through a lot of content today based by just not responding to the mob, you know.
Yeah. But, you know, unfortunately, there's going to be cancers everywhere you go, and he's one of them, and so are a lot of the people that follow him, because they're gonna follow his lead. Unfortunately,
no headaches, Sean.
No
headaches. Just let it go.
And even if I do have one, that's what Tylenol's for. So, but yeah, I think this is a good place to call it. What do you think?
I think so too. I knew we weren't gonna keep it at 45 minutes. We get talking on here and we have good discussion. dialogue.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yes, Dwayne, he is. BVD is an amazing guy, and he's. I'm proud to call him a good friend of mine. And so, all right, guys. Well, listen. Actually, yeah, Eric, do you have anything else you want to add?
Yep. I was just gonna say that I'm gonna sign off too. But if you liked either of our dialogue, whether it was Sean's, mine, or both, doesn't give us a subscribe. If you're not subscribed to Sean already, do so. He's comes out with live streams and Notre Dame videos and all sorts of good stuff and political issues. And if you're into all that stuff, or if you're just into or if you're a hater and you're into some good old fashioned controversy, go give him some YouTube traffic and give him a subscribe and a like or a dislike, whatever.
Well, actually, if anybody wants to give us any traffic anywhere, come to the Two Irish Brothers show, the show that I do with my buddy Ben.
Yep, I forgot about that. He does a show, and
that's where the majority of my Notre Dame stuff is now, is doing that show with him. This channel, this channel, you've seen it. I'll still talk some Notre Dame, but I want to see what Ben and I can do with our show before I, damn it, we have a stop there and couldn't finish it. But anyway, so yeah, I've been doing my Notre Dame stuff with Ben, and that's been a blast. And it's been great to have a co-host for that, like having you as a co-host here.
Yep, it's been a pleasure too.
So, all right, guys. Well, on that note, we have covered everything that we had to cover tonight that we had on the agenda. So, yeah, guys, I'm Sean for Eric. God bless. Good night.
Go Orange.
Go Irish. Yep, still here, guys. For some reason, the internet's not wanting to end the broadcast.